Hello. Good morning, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me. Lots going on in Southwest Woking since my last session. So just wanted to bring you up to date on issues that I'm working on. Firstly, just to start with Witch Hill Rise. So I know that there's been a petition on there. Lots of you have signed that petition. Real concerns about that particular road and people speeding along there at all times, really, and also all kinds of other things going on in terms of traffic going the wrong way. I was there last week. I also met one of the highways officers just to share the petition details and concerns that you had all raised and working on addressing those. So we're going to start off with playing the video that I took there, and then I'll speak on it afterwards. So if we just play that video, that'd be great.
Hi, I'm Ayesha Azad. I'm on Witch Hill Rise. Just wanted to give you an update on concerns regarding Witch Hill Rise and speeding on this road. There's been a petition, and so many of you have also written to me about your concerns. Cars coming along this road at high speed. There isn't a footpath here, and you have got people walking. You've got dog walkers. You've got children walking to the Hoe Valley School, cycling to the Hoe Valley School, and cars are just coming along here at high speed. As I was filming this, I literally just saw a car going up that way, the wrong way. This is a one-way street, and you've got cars going the wrong way, and that is a really serious issue and an accident potentially of great concern. I was able to meet the Surrey Highways officer here last week, and we discussed some of the issues raised in the petition and some of the issues that you have written to me about. We're going to start off with doing a speed survey. That will give us an idea of what the median speed is that cars are doing along here. Once we've got the data from the surveys, then we can actually look at what can be done in order to address the situation. It is something I know so many of you are concerned about because you've signed the petition, and it's something that you've also written to me about. I will of course share the results of the survey with you and let you know what can be done to address some of those concerns.
So yeah, I mean, as we were shooting that video, you had the live coverage of somebody going up the wrong way, and so many of you have mentioned that that's what's happening, which is absolutely terrible. And I picked that up with the highways officer. So as well as addressing what the speed is, we also need to address what we can do to stop people being idiotic and going the wrong way when you've got clear no entry signs for that. The speed survey, as soon as the speed survey results come in, of course, I'll share those with you and also pick up what the officers have recommended in terms of what we can do. We can reduce the speed. There might be speed cushions, and what else we can basically do to stop people going the wrong way along Witch Hill. So that's the petition. Obviously, speeding, you do write to me also about other roads. I'm having speed surveys done on a whole host of other roads, Black Horse Road, Heath House Road. There's speed surveys on St John's Hill, and Pale Cemetery are other areas that I'm having speed surveys. So wherever you ask me to look at speeding or look at dangerous driving, or generally just making our streets safer, then I do pick that up. So please do get in touch if there's your road or another road that you're particularly concerned about. Then of course I will pick that up and address that with the highways team and see what we can do. But it always starts with a speed survey because it's everything Surrey County Council does. It tends to be data driven. So once we've got an idea of what the speed is along those roads, and then we can pick up about looking at measures to put in place to make it much safer. So that's Witch Hill Rise and speeding. Again, do get in touch with me if you have any concerns. The other positive news is about Woking Library. Surrey County Council is having a huge refurbishment of our libraries, and Woking Library is a flagship library within Surrey, and it is having extensive refurbishments done, funding put forward from Surrey County Council to bring the library really kind of up to date with with lots of new things going on, new computers, new workspaces. Again, I was there a few weeks ago and shot a short video which we'll play so you can have a look.
I'm Ayesha Azad. I'm in the town centre today, just outside Woking Library. Great news that Woking Library is going through a huge transformation programme, which means it's going to be upgraded and have a whole host of new facilities. They're going to be done in phases, so the first phase is from the 21st of October to the 3rd of November. It's great news for all of you that use the library because it's such an important hub, because it's got fast broadband, it's got printing facilities, and all of those facilities are going to be upgraded going forward. So during the first phase of the refurbishment, starting on the 21st of October until the 3rd of November, the library will be closed. There will be a simple click and collect service, so if you need to return something you can do, and if you've reserved something then you will be able to pick that up. And I think it's going to be fantastic once it's finished, and I'll of course keep you updated as the refurbishment programme continues.
So that's very good news about Woking Library. 21st, obviously, it's tomorrow, so just be aware in terms of the limited service availability for the library. But once it's all refurbished, I'll go back and see the exciting new library. And then we move on swiftly through Triggs Lane crossing. So this is something I'm really pleased about. Actually, let's play the video first, because and then I'll talk to the video in terms of I'll explain some of the history about this particular crossing.
I'm Ayesha Azad. I'm on Triggs Lane. So for the past 3 years I have been working with Surrey County Council officers, with residents, to submit this scheme for a pelican crossing here. Really pleased that this year it has finally been agreed to get it funded. It's been done on a cross-party basis, and all of the work has finally paid off. I will of course keep you updated on when the scheme will take place. This is a busy road, it's used by so many people, especially children, and I'm just really pleased that it's finally going to get done.
So as I said, I'm just thrilled that this has finally been agreed. This is something that I have been working on for the last 3 years. It was I had put it forward as my local transport scheme, which each year each county councillor has a chance to put forward a kind of local transport scheme, something that they feel will improve residents' lives and improve the road safety. And it was refused for the past 2 years, and it's finally been agreed. So really thrilled. It's taken a lot of persuasion. And it's kind of been done on a cross-party basis, which is great, because where the division boundary is, Southwest Woking is mine, and then next door you have another county councillor. And we'd actually last year put it together as a joint division assessment for LTS. So it was refused last year, but I'm pleased that it's finally been agreed. It's something that a number of parents actually got in touch with me back in, oh gosh, it was about 2021, because they were walking their children in the morning to school. It was really difficult, as so many of us use that road. We know how busy it gets, particularly in the morning, and then of course that pickup time. So from a road safety point of view, and the school not being at a far distance, it was really important to get something there. So it's 3 years of hard work, but I just wanted to give you the good news and update you on the positivity of it finally, thank goodness, being agreed. So I'm just going to move on now to SGN. So again, many of you have written to me about SGN. We've had a lot of SGN works, especially within Heath. Over the summer, we had the issue with emergency works on St John's Hill Bridge. We had Witch Hill Lane, which was closed for an extensive amount of time, also over the summer. And now we hear that Heath Road is going to be closed for 17 weeks. I haven't been able to update you on exactly what is going on Heath Road, because the truth is that I haven't, despite me asking, I haven't had the information from SGN at all about what is going to be happening. I believe not very many residents, or any residents that I know of, have been written to who are living on Heath Road. So we've had very limited information from SGN, which is really disappointing. And I've not been able to, do my part in terms of keeping you all informed, which I, feel is one of my important roles. So I share the frustration that you've had. So I was able to invite Jonathan Hulley, who is the Deputy Cabinet Member for Strategic Highways, and he's actually responsible for the utility companies in terms of finding out what we can do to hold them to account, really. So I'm very appreciative of Jonathan coming along and talking about all things utilities. So good morning, Jonathan.
Good morning, Ayesha. It's very good to see you, and thank you very much for inviting me onto your live session this morning.
No, thank you so much for coming. As I think you're aware, it's not just obviously a Hook Heath Road or Woking issue. It is a wider issue, but most of my listeners will be from Hook Heath and will be from Woking. So let me start off with firstly with if you explain what your remit is in terms of your role in bringing to account the utility companies, which I know a lot of residents feel, they are just digging up roads left, right, and centre and give very little notice to residents, who are using those roads.
I mean, when I took on this new role, Ayesha, in the early summer, one of the first things I did was to try and get a proper understanding of the extent to which these utility companies are digging up our road network. And I was astounded to find out that there are 88 interventions. This is utility companies digging up our roads every day of every year. That is over 30,000 interventions over a 12-month period, and that has to have an impact. And so the first thing I did was to work with senior Surrey County highways offices to bring together that team, and also to work out how we can better engage with these utility companies. And so what we decided to do was to establish a Streetworks task force. I'm happy to report to you that over 14 different utility companies, including SGN, who are responsible for the gas network in your part of Surrey, have joined these task force meetings. And I'm very pleased to tell you that they have agreed to cooperate with Surrey County Council in a positive and constructive way. I'm concerned that, of course, when it comes to actual works being undertaken, their promise to collaborate constructively isn't always seeing its way through, but I'm determined to hold them to account through the work of this task force.
Excellent. Thank you. So just explain, Jonathan, perhaps to me and to residents, what remit we have as a county council in terms of giving permits to utility companies.
Absolutely. So the position is that no utility company is able simply to turn up and dig a hole in a road, except when they deem those works to be emergency or urgent. In that situation, they still have to apply for a permit, but only after they've first dug that hole. And so the permit system is something else that I want to get under the skin of, because I'm concerned that whilst we are obliged to grant a permit to a utility company to install a new gas line, or to deal with a pipe burst, or to cooperate with a telecommunications company so they can relay cabling, they have to apply for a permit at some point. And I want to understand how robust we are in investigating and interrogating their request for a permit, and what sort of checks and balances we are putting in place in terms of how long those works last, whether they work on a weekend or not, but also critically whether or not we are holding them to account on overrunning works. And I'm concerned that that is not something that we're perhaps quite as robust about as we should be.
And do we, Jonathan, have any say on what roads can be closed or not closed?
We absolutely do. So, of course, alongside a request to dig up a road will be a request either to install a two-way traffic system so that two lanes become one and it's managed in that way. Or alternatively, if there's a health and safety concern, closing that road for a period and arranging diversion routes. Now, it's the diversion route system that we as a county council have some control over. And the problem we've got is that when a utility company decides to intervene on an emergency basis, they will do so and apply for the permit after the event. And then the county council is scrambling around to work out a sensible and fair diversion route, which in some cases is very difficult to put into place given the nature of the road system in question. So again, I wanted to spend some time through the work of the task force and also our own permits team, understanding how we could do better by the community through more effective, more sensible diversion routes. But it comes back also to the utility companies playing their part, and that's what I'm determined to see happen as well.
Absolutely. And one of the other things that frustrates residents hugely is when they're told that it's emergency works. And then 3 days later, there's been no one working on this so-called emergency. It's like, well, what is an emergency when there's no one working on it? You'd think an emergency means like, a whole troop of people there trying to fix the emergency. And it kind of erodes, kind of trust from residents. Like, well, is it really an emergency?
Absolutely. And in many cases, it isn't actually an emergency. One of the outcomes of the work of the task force to date was being informed by these utility providers who have been participating that actually there is a list of planned emergency works. So in practical terms, when they dig up the road for one purpose and they come across some other piece of work that is needed, they will plan for that work at some point in the future, but classify that work as emergency. And so what is happening is that, yes, and they've agreed to share those lists of planned urgent works with us as part of one of the outcomes of this task force to help us as a local authority to better plan diversion routes so that they're less impactful on our community. Interestingly, the same utility companies who have been participating have agreed also to sign up to a letter that we want to send to the Department of Transport, urging the government to look again at the definition of emergency works. Because the thing is, Ayesha, is that the legislation that deals with street works is 23 years old. It's a 1991 piece of legislation, no longer fit for purpose in my view. And we need to narrow the definition, I would suggest, of emergency works. So fewer utility companies can rely on the wide, broad definition of emergency works, and actually requiring them, indeed forcing them, I would suggest, to apply for a permit before they start any works. And that, I think, would certainly encourage better planning.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think legislation definitely needs to be updated and looked at. And I think, one of the reasons you've been setting up this task force is because, Surrey County Council is trying to get a grip, because residents are so frustrated with what utility companies are doing. I do have a question from one of our listeners, which is, does Surrey County Council operate a lane rental scheme? And does this scheme also apply to emergency works or just planned ones?
So the lane rental scheme is an operation, and it applies only to planned works. And it applies to only 7% of our entire county network, which in my view is simply not enough. I think we need to go further than that. I would like to see us apply for an extension of the lane rental scheme to cover more roads in our county, particularly roads that see so many of these utility companies intervening for various reasons. Now, the question is, in my view, is when do we make an application to extend the lane rental scheme? I would suggest the sooner we do that, the better. Mm. And I think what we want to see when we make that application, which will require a formal application to the Department of Transport, permission granted by the Secretary of State, is us targeting the roads that are impacted the most by utility companies, because that seems to be the right way to do it.
Okay, no, it seems like lots going on in the background. We just need to see that kind of all of that work kind of resulting in, from my perspective as a county councillor, just for that information to be given to me so that I can then let my residents know, because that is a real frustration. As I mentioned, Heath Road I didn't know that it was going to be, you know, having roadworks done closed for 17 weeks until you know the boards went up. That really is not acceptable. So if I don't know, then you know I can't do my job in terms of informing residents. And you would think if a major road like Heath Road is being closed for 17 weeks, all of the residents on that road should have been written to by SGN at the very least. So my question really to you is how will you empower, you know, councillors, county councillors to have the information from these utility companies so that they can, you know, keep residents informed, because we can't do our job.
Absolutely, and I share that frustration, Ayesha. I mean, one of the outcomes of the work of the task force to date is an undertaking by the utility companies to provide us with better information sooner. This is in relation to planned works, but also to ensure that they prepare information packs to send to residents directly, so that the residents themselves know before works start. They shared with us some examples of postcards and letters that they have been preparing, which they then disseminate before works start. And we want to see them broaden that. And indeed, they are responsible under legislation for informing us as a council and residents as well before they start works. But I want to see through the work of the task force what they actually are sending out, so that we can impact on what they do better. The other thing is we have agreed an escalation procedure. So one of the frustrations I see is that when there is a concern, the public don't necessarily know who to talk to. So they will contact you and I as councillors, and we will do our absolute best to help. But it would be better if we can get hold of, as councillors, but also as members of the public, someone at the utility company end who can tell us actually what is going on, and quicker. So an escalation route of some sort is something that the task force is looking at, and I would like to see that rolled out in an efficient way.
Yeah, most definitely, because the Heath Road works are obviously planned works; they're not emergency works.
Yeah.
And the fact that I haven't been informed and residents haven't been informed, and the fact that, you know, as you're aware, each week at the end of the week we get all of our, you know, roadworks that are going on in our area. It wasn't even on my weekly update. So somewhere along the line, you know, balls are being dropped, and you know, it's not following that, you know, protocol that you're talking about. So I think that there remains quite a bit of work to do in that area. But the fact that you're doing it and we have got that oversight gives me hope that we are going to get this right, because it frustrates residents hugely and inconveniences them, to say the least. Because there's nothing worse than driving along and like, you know, well, the fact that they put the boards up is a good thing, that you have got some advanced information, but there's such limited information on there that's not really helpful either, because it's like road closure, Heath Road, and of course it's a huge road. Which part are you going to close? And are people living there going to be able to get in and out of their, you know, drives? So it's information, but it's just such limited information, which again creates a bit of a vacuum.
It absolutely does. But what I would say is that the task force is up and running. We are in the same room as 14 different utility providers operating on our network, including SGN. We appreciate, of course, that they have a job to do. They need to upgrade and improve the gas network, but really we need to minimize disruption for our residents. And so that is what the task force is trying to achieve. And as I said, if we can improve communication, which is one of the key objectives, communication to residents about the work that the utility companies are carrying out on our network, that's a good thing. And they've also signed up to better collaboration with us as well. So it's a start, Ayesha. It's certainly not the end of our efforts to improve the situation, but we've made a start through the task force, and I'm determined to see this through, and determined also to ensure that when they intervene on our roads, these utility companies minimize disruption as much as possible, and we need to hold them to account on that.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Jonathan. Really appreciate that. I mean, I'm obviously aware of the work that you're doing, but I just appreciate so much that you're able to come and share what you're doing, and the task force work remit as well, what you're doing in terms of that. That's really, really appreciated that you're able to let residents know. I will ask if, you know, in a couple of months, whether you could come back and update residents and update me also on some of what you've achieved in terms of the milestones that you're setting for the task force, because I think it's really important. It's something that affects everybody, and we're all rooting for you in terms of, you know, making it a success. So thank you, and I'd really appreciate it, and ask if you could come back.
I would be delighted to come back and report on progress, Ayesha, and thank you very much for inviting me today.
No, thank you so much, Jonathan, and hopefully I'll catch up with you again soon.
Thank you very much, Ayesha.
Take
All the
care.
best.
Bye. Thank you. So that was Jonathan Hulley. I hope you found that informative. I think it's useful to know. You know, we all get frustrated by the roadworks, but I think the work that Surrey County Council is doing behind the scenes to hold utility companies to account is important, and I will definitely get Jonathan Hulley back in a few months to see how he's getting on with that task group work. So that is on. Oh, just to mention that if I do get any updates, which I'm hoping for early next week in terms of Heath Road, then of course I will
Afraid we seem to have lost Ayesha. Oh, hang on, she's back again. So I will make myself scarce and we'll bring her in instead. Thanks very much.
What happened there? Sorry about that. Technical fault. Oh, 1 minute I was talking, and next minute all went blank. So apologies for that. No, I was just saying I'll keep you updated on any updates that I get from SG on the works on Heath Road. And then just to say that next week on Saturday is Littlepick in St John's, meeting at about 9:30, St John's Lie. I'm going to be there, so if any of you are going to be there, come and say hello. Let me know if there's any issues you have, but that's our kind of first Littlepick of the winter, so hopefully see you there. The next live stream is on, let me check the day. Oh, there it is. It's on Sunday, the 10th of November at 2:30. You know, do get in touch if there's any issues that you want me to pick up, and I will update you on what's going on in all things Working Southwest, and hope to see you all next time. Thank you for joining me. Thanks. Bye.